let's start in Pittsburgh. That Steeler loss to the Bills certainly was ugly. Was it a bad game or a bad sign?
Oh, yeah, that's the easiest one you've given me. It's absolutely a bad sign. If it weren't for the fact that this division was completely a mess, they would be completely out of this. But, yeah, your quarterback gets his face broken. You can't really move the ball. Your defense gets run through. There's nothing about this to be positive. So bad that your future Hall of Fame coach is getting booed and chanted to fire. Like, I don't know. Is there something worse than bad sign? Because that is what is happening in Pittsburgh right now.
Watching that game, it was bleak. It felt like the end of something, right? And so one wonders, could it actually be the end of one of the longest and most successful coaching tenures that we've seen in the league's history? That's not hyperbole. Do we think that we could be seeing the end of Mike Tomlin's time in Pittsburgh?
It feels crazy to sit here and talk about how great of a coach Mike Tomlin is, but you just look at it, the production. And I think the NFL will always be a production business. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. We're now on the cusp of watching that performance on Sunday. You have to start to say, yes, I think it might be time for Tomlin and the Steelers to part ways. It may not be the Pittsburgh Steelers saying, we're firing Mike Tomlin because he can't get the job done. It may be them saying, you know what? This just isn't working at this point. Rodgers after the game saying we need to get guys to meetings. Like, think about the team we're talking about. A Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame head coach. Can you imagine on that team you can't get people to show up for something? When you have a legit chance at the playoffs, that's the part to me where you look at and you got to start to wonder.
They're getting the full Rodgers treatment without any of the good parts. So that part of it is a mess. But the Tomlin of it all, I'll remind anyone who doesn't know, they've only had 3 head coaches since 1969. So these things don't happen often, but eventually they have to happen. He isn't going to be the coach there until the end of time.
Right, things end, and that's but I don't think the Steelers, they're chanting fire Tomlin. The Steelers are not going to fire Mike Tomlin. They take great pride in being the organization that doesn't fire head coaches. Could they come to some sort of situation where he wants to try something, or they talk and like, hey, this isn't working anymore. Maybe it's time to move on. Mutual parting of ways. We hear that all the time. Rarely is it true, but it could be in a case like this. Look, they're still tied for first place, and if he has a losing season, it'll be the first one he ever had. So I don't think he's in any trouble from their standpoint. But to the greater point, are we at the point where his message isn't connecting? Like, do you have to Andy Reid at the end in Philadelphia?
Yeah, this to me is always like the double standard of coaching and playing. Right? I'm just being real. Like, I think Mike Tomlin, there's a lot of great players that get cut. And there's a lot of really good players that get cut. Oh, you're just not you're not good for me anymore, right? But like when it happens to players, we're all like, oh yeah, it was time for him to move on. But like with coaches, we're gonna live and die and be like, oh, he's so good, he's irreplaceable. Okay, like Vrabel replaced it. Ben Johnson. Like, there's a lot of coaches that are good coaches that may come in and give you a different perspective, and different things happen. What you do know is if the standard is a standard, which has always been preached, it's a long time. 2016 is a playoff win. And I get you're having winning seasons, but mediocrity in the NFL leads to more mediocrity, and that's really where you've been.
Do you know who's in that category with them, having not won a playoff game since January of 2016? The Dolphins, the Raiders, the Jets, the Panthers, the Bears, the Cardinals, and the Broncos. Those are the 8 teams that have not won a playoff game in that stretch. Denver's going to turn it around. The Bears are turning it around. That's not the company you want to keep.
No, and the others have all had like 3 coaches.
That's what I was about to say. I wonder how many coaches on us.
And they don't all go to the playoffs either. That's the other thing. So if you're going to, maybe there's a coach out there that would do a good job, but you better get one.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that.
Not just hire anybody.
But on the record show, I want dibs on this. The day they fired Daboll on the First Draft podcast, I said Mike Tomlin will be the next coach of the Giants. I said it that day, and I stand by it. That's what I believe is going to happen.
Is that during the autumnal equinox?
What's that? It was well after the autumnal equinox. Okay, next one. The next bad game, bad sign. Jeff, it's your team. Colts lose again. Texans. Bad game, bad sign.
Bad sign. I mean, when you look at the Colts and what they've done, that when they've played good teams, they have not played well. And the problem for the Texans, who wasn't really capable of running the football, they ran the football against them. In the fourth quarter, Colts had a chance to make plays. They didn't make the plays. This was This is a bad sign to me because, again, it's kind of the same thing. When you shut Jonathan Taylor down, this looks like a completely different Colts team. And that's the problem, and that's kind of what you're seeing happen.
Yeah, this team, it's scary. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but it's scary going forward because the expectations were getting higher and higher for this team. And when you have the injuries that they've just had, especially the Sauce, it's the big acquisition that's going to make their team able to play man coverage and compete in the playoffs, and your quarterback's leg is broken. It's really hard to be optimistic.
Look at the schedule. I mean, they still have to play San Francisco, Seattle, the Jaguars twice, who they never beat, and Houston again.
The bad sign to me also is the offensive line. Like the amount of times that Daniel Jones with a broken leg was hit in that game. Beat the Jacksonville Jaguars this week.
Gotcha.
You want us to continue to believe that this is a team that's going to be in the playoffs, go on the road and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
They haven't won in Jacksonville in 11 years, and they play there every year. Like, there's something wrong when they go down there. I mean, Daniel Jones, like you guys said, he's playing with a broken leg, which, you know, not ideal. You'd rather have two legs that aren't broken. But I think he's able to play, and I think he was able to hit some throws. Yeah. What he can't do is move around. And I'm talking to people with the Texans about the game. They're saying, like, we felt like he's not going anywhere. So, like, that's helpful when you're a defense, obviously, and it was a big part of their success early in the season. So
his athleticism is a huge part of his game.
Yes,
of Daniel Jones' game. Is there a wager connected to this one from our friends at DraftKings?
Only one rush for one yard in that game. Like, that's a big problem considering how much he runs. You can bet him to miss the playoffs. I think it's a good price. It's plus 235. $10 bet returns $23.50 in profit. You saw the schedule, which is daunting. You also have to recognize of the 8 wins they have this year, 2 came against teams with a winning record. 2. One was the Denver game where the leverage penalty at the end helped them. The other was the Charger game where that was the Charger C squad due to all the injuries that were out there. You're going to have to navigate this schedule. Now, all right, maybe you get the Jags 1 of 2. Sure, that Seattle game is going to be a real pain for them. The Niners, even though the defense is a problem, continue to find ways to win, and the offense looks great. And then the Texans at the end of the season, it's a team this year that those 4 losses have come against the 4 good teams that they've played. Rams, Chiefs, Texans, and the Steelers caught them as well.
Yeah. That could be the game. That last game at Houston could easily wind up being the one that decides the playoffs.
Let me just tell you, it's devastating for me to watch. It's like watching a train just go slow, and I'm just watching, and I feel. You feel me? I text you. I text you.
You need a hug?
My heart, I do.
King Sportsbook currently has them as the slight favorite to win the AFC. That could all change in 2 weeks with the Bills getting another crack at the Pats. That will be in Foxborough again after a Patriot bye. So we go to our next game, which is, believe it or not, J-Mac, if I said the Patriots will be the top seed in the AFC, believe it or not.
Jeff, which team did you say is good all of a sudden again? Believe it! I am rolling with the Patriots. If you are an NFL fan, get used to it. Go to Foxborough. It's in the AFC. We're going to be winning it. Hey, you got so many. There's Bar Louie up there, 6 string. There's a Renaissance. Go to Patriots Place. Have a great time throughout the entire playoffs. AFC runs through Foxborough.
You have no shame. No shame.
Neek, right now the Bears are the top spot in the NFC. So if I said they're going to wind up the 1 seed, believe it or not?
Well, I'm not. Don't make reservations in Chicago. I don't know these places.
Gibson's, Hugo's, keep going. I got you.
You don't need a Bar Louie. Yeah, you don't need to have a hot dog from up there or whatever.
Wiener Circle, they're free today. Go ahead.
This team has been really successful so far, but I think the coach himself will point out that they have some limitations in the passing game. The defense has been living on turnovers. They have a 17 turnover differential. That'll balance out the rest of the way. I think they'll lose a couple. They're definitely getting the playoffs.
And then, Jeff, let's get to our favorite. The Cowboys will make the playoffs, believe it or not.
Believe it! Whoa! I gave them a 0% chance. 0. And since the trade that this team is on, they're the scariest team in the NFL right now. And the crazy. And listen, this goes to Dan Graziano, as he's affectionately called. He always tells us that this division, it is not. Since 21 years, the same team is not going to win it again. He kept saying, and he put some kind of voodoo witchcraft on this thing, and he texts us during the game, y'all, just little eyes. That's all he sends us, and we know things are going to spiral from there.
That group chat, like, don't the Bears look good? Like the Bears are really playing well.
The Tuesday show has a group chat.
You gotta have a jacket.
Yeah.
Anyway, pretend I didn't mention that. Let me show you what's going on. Cowboys play at Detroit on Thursday night, okay? Our analytics say if the Cowboys win that game, their chances of making the playoffs double. If they lose, they fall back down to 8%. They're basically cooked. It's a playoff game for Dallas on Thursday night. If they're going to be a wild card, they need to win out for sure. That's going to be very challenging to get in as a wild card because they're sitting with 3 fewer wins than the Niners, who are currently in the 7th spot. But in the NFC East, if the Cowboys keep on winning and the Eagles start to fall a little bit, that could be the path. And so we start looking ahead to Thursday night's game, which again is a monster one. And let's start with the injury piece of this. Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's a team that's already without its tight end Sam Laporta. Are they going to be without Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I think there's a good chance. He did not practice yesterday. He's got a sprained ankle that he suffered in last Thursday's game. So while it is a full week, it's still a tight turnaround 1 week to the next to try and get back for it. Look, everything you hear on this guy, his toughness, he's played through stuff. Like, don't rule him out. But if he doesn't practice again today, it starts to look a little bleak. And they put another cornerback on IR, Terrion Arnold, yesterday. So, yeah, they're falling apart.
I watched what Jordan Love did to that defense on Thursday.
Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself, Pickens and Lamb in a game where weather isn't going to be a factor. There's not going to be, it's guaranteed to be no wind, guaranteed to be no precipitation. And Cowboys could be very tough to stop.
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup for the Cowboys, especially at this time. The offensive line for the Lions isn't the same as it was before, and this defensive line for the Cowboys is playing incredibly well. You put on top of those receivers that Dak doesn't seem to be making very many mistakes right now. And, you attack down the field to guys like, Pickens. That man is incredible. Every time you get the ball to him, he's outstanding.
Well, I got 2 corners sitting here, so let's just have a momentary serious conversation if we can. You got George Pickens on one side, you got CeeDee Lamb on the other. What are you going to do?
And it's tough because you just mentioned Terrion Arnold going to IR. The Lions play man. Like, that's what they pride themselves on, being able to get up in your face and win. We watched the Chiefs do that this past Thursday. They got up in the face. They put McDuffie on Lamb. They had Watson out there. You just can't do it. You can't go out there and
to answer your question,
guys.
Greeny, blitz. Like, all-out blitz. You got to go, and then you have a situation where if you miss the tackle when they force a quick pass, then you're in a tough situation. But I'd feel much more comfortable knowing that you're going to get pressure on the quarterback than saying, like, hey, play man up with Pickens all game. No thanks.
And let me say this, too, because we talking about, like, what makes the Cowboys so different is their run defense. I think the part that we talked about that's always kind of been their Achilles heel like the last 3 or 4 years. Since the Williams and the Logan and Overshown is back, the difference of them inside, it literally forces you to either try to run outside or throw the football, and they're playing into that, into what their strength is right now. I can tell you this: I would have never believed a turnaround this significant could occur this fast. And what Eberflus and they have done in Cowboy land on the defensive side of the ball makes for tough sledding for what the Detroit Lions want to do.
It's an influx of improved personnel, not just the trade deadline acquisitions, but also the guys that got healthier. You mentioned Overshown, the rookie corner, Revel, he's played well. Trevon Diggs, I think, is coming back either this week or next. So they're getting healthier on that side of the ball. The offense has been elite all year. The vibes around that team are good. Brian Schottenheimer has done an outstanding job of setting the right tone in that building, keeping them all together. They are emboldened by the knowledge that the Eagles cannot possibly win the division because they won it last year. So if they win this game Thursday, my goodness, it's all systems go.
Give me a few betting thoughts on this one, Mr. Fortenbaugh.
Point spread was Detroit -5 at the open. It was nothing but Dallas money knocking it all the way down to 3. And we're talking 3 on the road. That's basically your home field edge. Big edge for Dallas here. If you're going to have to play on the road on a Thursday, they get a full week to get ready. They don't have to turn around in 4 days' time.
That's another thing that I've heard people suggesting, that with the way this team has rebounded here in the second half of the season, the way they're playing defense, the way they have gone through this unimaginable tragedy, and the way that Brian Schottenheimer has navigated through it, that all of a sudden his name is coming up a little bit in some Coach of the Year conversation, and Dak's name is coming up in the MVP conversation.
May is your favorite, Stafford second, and then there's a drop-off to Prescott, who's sitting around 15-1. The key for Prescott, and when we're handicapping this award, it's not just about the wins and the stats, it's about the voters. You got to get inside the mind of the voters. A lot of times they don't want to give you the 3rd straight MVP, like with Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. You got to factor this stuff in. Prescott's going to play primetime standalone game right here on a Thursday. He's got 2 other primetime games coming up. One doesn't look like a primetime, but that Commanders game is a standalone on Christmas. That's 3 games where the entire world is staring at just them. Drake May's out of primetime games. You won't see him stand alone at all. Stafford's got 2. The key is, in a few weeks, if Stafford and the Rams go to Seattle and win on a Thursday night in front of everyone, I think that's where Stafford locks up the award. But Prescott's got a chance.
I mean, Dak is playing that level of ball.
Sure.
And here's how I can tell. Because Jeff, there is a group chat that precedes you. It predates your
already added you.
The show used to just be the four of us. Anyway, Jeff is going nuts. I'm sitting there. We were having our post-show call yesterday. I said, I can tell you all right now, Jeff Saturday is all in on the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Again, they're offensive. They have a very good and efficient run game. Williams is doing a great job. And I think it's under discussed about what Dak gets them in the right play.
Yeah.
Like he sees the game exceptionally well right now, and it's like where that cross comes, right? And he understands when to push the ball down the field, when to give to Pickens, when to Lamb, when to Ferguson, like the flow of the game. So when you talk about like an MVP and I watch him, it's not just floating numbers. He held the team together, man. Like he was playing great offense even when their team was really struggling. He's done a magnificent
job. It
job.
doesn't even take into account like the preseason. There was no team that we talk worse about than the Cowboys. Coming in like this season is gonna be a disaster. They traded their best player away. No one is paying attention to the Cowboys. And then they go and lose a bunch of games and suddenly turn it around after the trade deadline.
I think quickly, Jeff, to your point, I'm sitting at my brother's house on Thanksgiving. We're watching this game. Played with Brady for 10 years. He goes, Dak reminds me of the way Brady played, where he's getting them in and out of the best play. They're bringing blitz. He's getting the ball out quick. He's doing all the little things that enables your team to win.
I can't think of any higher praise. Final words.
Say, like this, Dan Campbell's loving this.
Yeah.
Like Detroit could definitely beat them on Thursday. They're still that good.
Of course they could, but you know what? They better get to the line of scrimmage and run a play a little faster than they did in that game. There were a lot of stuff. I love Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell's putting all this in the bank.
Let's have this conversation about that a little bit later.